Hey guys, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk, and so this week I found some sealed Rekkids. Okay, not seal Rekkids or seal CDs. So of course these two CDs I'm holding in my hand, which I didn't find recently, are the first two albums by Seal. They're called Zeal and Seal, and I mainly remember them from Warren Miller's ski movies, that song Crazy, the one that's in the big type that even old blind people can see. But we're not really talking about Seal this week. The theme for this week, besides for the Seal records and maybe one other one I'm going to show, is there's going to be a lot of 1980s sorts of rootsy rock, cowpunk, jangle pop sort of music is what we're going to be seeing. And these were found in a variety of sources over the past few months. I kind of clumped them together for this particular video, and I've been saving the sealed records. And so, first of all, you may remember I went to Peggy's Attic a couple weeks ago, comparing the moldy records with the clean records. Well, I also went to Rachel's Attic, and I picked up a couple of records at Rachel's Attic. And so we've got this Jason and the Scorchers with their first full-length album, Fervor. Last year I found like their first 7-inch EP, Jason and the Nashville Scorchers. Some pressings of this have Nashville on it, mine does not. And so, of course, Jason Ringenberg. There was some hype with Jason and the Scorchers. I don't think they ever became as popular as people thought, but sort of your cowpunky stuff from 1983, where some of them are dressed like cowboys and some of them are just dressed like typical wimpy 1983 boys. And then the other one I found, and this is one of the sealed records that I have not opened or listened to yet, is True Believers. And so this has this cool hype sticker featuring some songs that apparently didn't become hits because I don't remember any of these songs. And so there you go, the True Believers, self-titled record from 1986, listed on Discogs as alt rock, hard rock. Alejandro Escovedo and his brother Javier were the main two people in this group. Alejandro is kind of a known singer-songwriter from the Austin, Texas scene, and so this was an early band that they were in. The only full-length album that they ever put out. And so we're not going to completely rip off the Shrink because we want to keep the hype sticker. And then this must have been a cutout because it's got the hole punch in it that I was holding where you couldn't see it. But we will. So keeping the Shrink on because I want to keep the hype sticker. We've got the original inner sleeve, picture of the people, and then all the various goodies. Produced in association with Waterloo Records in Austin, so that's a big record store there. And Jim Dickinson was involved with this as well. Was he the producer? He played piano and he recorded it. I don't know. But anyway, and oh shit. It's ruined. And so this is one of the things that can happen to you when you buy sealed records. I've never been burned this way with a sealed record before, and I literally did not know that this was going to happen. And so that's kind of a shitter. I have two more sealed records, which I hope are not damaged like that as well. That sucks. All right. So the next batch of records, I was in Clarksville, and there was an antique mall that I had not hit on some prior trips there called Second Chances, Antiques and Treasures. So I went in there. There was a couple record booths. One was like old stuff that you wouldn't want. Another one, so there was some decent stuff. A lot of it's overpriced. This person had like the new sealed records section, which are basically the stuff he bought from Walmart for $15 that he's now trying to sell to you for $30. But I only buy Walmart records when they're on sale, so I'll wait for Walmart to have their next sale. And so what did I get there? Well, not fitting with the 80s sort of roots rock cowpunk theme is Electric Light Orchestra, Face the Music from 1975. It's still got a type sticker as well, Strange Magic and Evil Woman. And so I now have 2 ELO records, and I have their greatest hits on CD. That's probably all the ELO by Jeff Lynne and the gang that I need. And then another, I was kind of looking for unknown-y sort of things, because sometimes some of these dealers will like overprice like well-known artists. They'll overprice their Kiss records, but then stuff like this will be a lot cheaper. So this is the Dusters Red Hot and Ready to Roll. And so this is from, in my notes, I forgot to write down the year. I think it's 1988. Reptile Records out of Nashville. It looked pretty like rockabilly-ish on the front, but once I listened to it, this was not a sealed record. It was more of a boogie southern rock sort of record. Reptile Records label looking really cool. And so that's the Dusters. We have the White Animals. This is another sort of little known 80s band from Nashville. Apparently they had put out several albums throughout the 80s. This was like their 5th album, which came out in 1987 on the Dreadbeat label, which I think was their own record label. And basically how I would describe these guys is they're pretty jangle poppy 80s college rocky sort of sounding. They sound like the sort of band that would be opening for REM or opening for Pylon or that sort of thing. So the Wild Animals in the Last Days. And then the sealed one that I got from that particular location is this record by the Beat Farmers called Loud and Plowed and Live. So this is a 1990 album. It's a live double album, recorded December 30th, 1989 and January 1st, 1990 in their hometown of San Diego. So they were kind of part of like that Southern California sort of rootsy rock / mixed with cowpunk sort of scene. The Beat Farmers. Their drummer and sometimes vocalist Country Dick Montana passed away in 1995 during a show. He was the one who usually sang drinking songs, including sort of a known song by them called Happy Boy, which is on here. One of the features of Happy Boy was him gargling beer during the song. And so this one doesn't have a hype sticker on it, so we'll just open and get rid of this shrink. And we'll hope that these records are not cracked like the True Believers was cracked. That was a bummer. I mean, that's the gamble you take when you buy these records that have been sealed for over 35 years. All right, so there goes the shrink. Is it a gatefold? It is not a gatefold. And so we've got, we've got an insert. And they were on Curb Records, which I more associate with like sort of crappy country music. In fact, I think they were not terribly happy with their label. And so here's sides 1 and side 2. It's not cracked. It's not warped. Looks beautiful. And then we'll look at the second record. Same deal here. They're both very thin. So I don't know if it's Dynaflex, but they're sort of Dynaflexy, but they seem fine. I suspect that they're going to play just fine, not ruined like the True Believers. And then the last one that I found that we're going to get to open up is, I got this in a small town in Kentucky called Sturgis. I'd been there once before last year. I think this record was there last year and I missed it, but it's by the Upbeats called Pop Songs. So they're from Athens, Georgia, 1986, sort of a power pop, jangle pop sort of group on their own Laser Records. This was their second and final album. A guy named Bill Holmes, who was kind of a multi instrumentalist, played several instruments, and Glenn Strateris seemed to be the two main guys in this group, sort of part of that Athens scene. Peter Buck makes a guest appearance on the first song, Just Another Pop Song, on here. They also do a Beatles cover, and along the way. So let's open up this one, hoping that it looks nice and clean like the Beat Farmers and not cracked and ruined like the True Believers. And this one's sealed super tight. It's very hard. There we go. There goes the shrink. No hype sticker on this one. Man, this one is packed tight. Which I am not super fond of. Hoping it's not going to end up being warped. The Upbeats, Pop Songs, and inner sleeve is a browning paper white sleeve. There's no insert in here. And here's what the record looks like. Again, this one's a pretty thin, floppy vinyl, but don't see any marks on it. So this one appears like it's probably fine as well. So I think the Beat Farmers and the Upbeats are going to be okay in terms of the vinyl, and the True Believers ended up being a disaster. So that's what happens when you buy sealed records. Sometimes it's a disaster. And so I guess instead of listening to the True Believers, I'll have to listen to Seal.